going on? Brandon, I see a Thrashers flag. I see
Got
a little change in
little
heart.
little throwback. I'm missing hockey over here. Watching the NHL playoffs right now has made me miss the Thrashers, and just want the team back in Atlanta. Will it
Yeah,
happen?
I
No,
mean,
but one
I
one can
mean,
hope.
one could hope, and these playoffs have been outstanding, and I can't wait to
Yeah,
get into it. But
yeah.
let's get into this fun little question that I think is actually gonna be a little spicy,
Okay, I'm
to
intrigued. What
say
you
the
got?
least.
Okay.
Um, top 5 Marvel movies.
Oh,
I,
oh.
we could go from Iron Man all the way till Multiverse of Madness,
I mean,
which came
okay.
out recently. So
Yeah,
I know
that
this is a little heavier question, but
this could break friendships. I feel like
this
this could
this
end. Okay.
I'm nervous. So I'm gonna go from bottom to top.
Okay, from
Bottom
five
to
to one.
top.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'm
At number
scared.
5, at number 5, I have to put Winter Soldier. I have to.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, iconic, right? The scenes, like the fighting, everything. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. Great film. I could watch it. That's like my go-to one. Then we're gonna start breaking friendships. I feel like I
Oh
have to go
gosh.
number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay.
Okay, that's number 4. Number
Okay.
3, yeah, I have. You're gonna hate me. You're
I already hate you,
literally
by the
gonna
way.
hate me.
I can't believe you put No Way Home at 4.
Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
Number 2, I have Infinity War.
Fair. 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 It's gonna hurt me. Just say
This
it
is gonna
already.
kill you. This is gonna kill you. You're not gonna expect this. Number 1, Iron Man, the first one.
Honestly, I was kind of expecting that, so I won't lie. So our
You,
friendship actually isn't going to end, by the way. It's
oh
not going to end
really?
as much as it's not going to end as
Okay.
badly as you think it's going.
Whew. Because I'm like, we
No.
got more episodes to record. We have the rest of this one to do.
Yeah.
Okay. What
No.
is Mr. Brandon's?
All right. Honestly, for me, number 5 is kind of the one that we kind of differ on. The rest somewhat the same, but I don't know why. But number 1 for me, or not number 1, sorry, number 5 for me, I gotta go with Thor. I feel like that there's something about like the first Thor, not
Okay.
the second. I really enjoyed it, and they kind of that's when I think that's when like people noticed Avengers, but that's kind of when it started to get bigger. Like once people are like,
Yeah,
oh, they're gonna make hundreds of movies basically and just grow. So number 5, Thor, which there's some debate, but it is what it is.
I can see that.
Number
Preference gets into
number
this.
4, I can't believe you put No Way Home at 4. That's what hurts me the most, honestly. Like, how do you put it at 4?
It was great. But this is my thing.
Okay,
Iron Man built Spider-Man in a cave
that's fair.
with a box of scraps. So you
Fair enough.
can't put him above that. And
Oh
I
no,
don't know.
I
It was
agree.
great. It was just like, for
Okay,
spoilers out
either way,
there, like,
either way.
it was great.
Well, I'll finish my list. Number 4 for me was Doctor Strange, the first one. I haven't been able to see Multiverse yet because of work
Okay,
and everything. So I might swap that one out. I won't lie. But number
Doctor
3 for
Strange.
me, was Infinity War.
Okay,
With
so 2-2.
number two is Spider-Man No Way Home, and number 1 is Iron Man also. So
Okay, so we agree on that. But how did
yes,
you not have Infinity War on there,
I said that's 3.
or Endgame? Because I also didn't. I'm curious why you.
I know. I don't.
Like, what about Endgame?
I loved Endgame, but I also feel like that's just like the cop-out answer.
I
Like
know.
part of me doesn't put it like, let's be real. You could just put Endgame as number 1 just because of how much is in it.
Right.
And
Right.
honestly, like if I were to swap something out, I would honestly put Black Panther in over Doctor Strange.
That's an
That would be my
honorable
swap.
mention.
That would be my swap out without copying out just a straight in game.
I see.
Like in game,
My number 6 would be Age of Ultron.
That's a bit down for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh gosh, there's not enough pod to talk
There's
about
not.
this.
You
Holy
should not have
crap.
started with this question.
I've
We start with number ones at least.
we
Those
had
are the
the
same.
same number ones and we did not talk about that. I don't know
No,
why Iron Man the first one especially.
I was
Holy
very like
crap.
I was like if he doesn't like this pick, I'm hanging like pod's over. I'm sorry. If he tells me Iron Man should be like out of top 5, I'm gonna hurt. If you say out top 10, it's done. Like I'm sorry.
My issue is I think Endgame was so good, it just took so long, and I like to see action and like hype. And if I'm gonna have a slower movie, you have to have the first one in because it kind of dictates everything after that. You know what I
That's
mean?
fair.
Because Iron Man was slower, but I mean like it was lit. Like
I mean, I love yeah. I mean, I love Iron Man with a passion. So,
holy crap. Well, that
but I
was a
mean,
good question.
I was gonna say we could probably go on this week, next week, and another week about the Marvel movies, but we got some sports news to get into that we have to because well, we're a sports podcast, so it's what we do.
That would be weird
But
if we didn't.
I know I would be a little strange, but we just talked an hour and didn't talk sports, but it's okay. So let's start off with baseball because baseball hurts me right now. The Braves are not very good. Like it's just you think they're gonna be good and then they're not. But it's not like your team is any better. So
Okay, we don't talk
at
about
least
that. We don't talk
at
about
least
that.
the Nationals are just as bad. How was
We
the
didn't
game
drop
yesterday? You went.
bands. We didn't. Well, it was great. It was great. Shout out Tasso. It was his birthday, but we lost to those cheating Astros, and I was not
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah.
So
So yeah, that's it. I honestly right now though the hottest team in baseball I would say is Yankees. I mean they're on a tear. Like they're only on a 1 game win streak now, but I mean they've been winning left and right. Like Astros are super hot also, but the Yankees, I mean they're just hitting bombs. Like it's scary. Of course, then the Dodgers are still plenty hot. All the teams in LA are. Unfortunately, the Braves ran into the Padres, lost 2 or 3. Should have won. Should have honestly won them, but pitching apparently we don't know how to do it past the 7th inning, so it is what it is. Don't die on me now. We
the
just
only
started.
difference between the Nationals is the Braves is that the Braves paid this much money to be this bad. I just want to say that for right now.
Wow. So football. Let's just go ahead because
Speaking,
that was
that one
a
hurt.
shot.
But I can't
Wow.
wait for this debate today because we're gonna. I'm after the
Wow.
Marvel thing. I'm feeling like, okay. So in football news, we had a couple low key signings, and then Drew Brees decided to come out and kind of spice things up, and he said something. I think it was from the PGA golf thing that they do these quarterbacks and so on. That he was like, "Well, my decision." About if I'm going to come back to play is mine. I might coach. I might play with my kids. I
Yeah,
might pick
he
up.
said like 50 different things. I was like, my
All of it was
goodness,
just
man.
like, who cares?
Yeah.
And that's a separate question. But real quick, like, do you think he should come back?
I think if he comes back, it's gonna be worse than having Jameis Winston. So
Okay, so we see eye to eye on that. There was a
I don't
reason
want him
why.
coming back just because I don't want to deal with him, but he's done. He couldn't throw the ball past 20 yards last season. Like,
Completely agree.
I'm
There was
sorry,
a
bro.
reason why
Just
they had Taysom
yeah,
Hill coming in. There was a reason to
yeah.
be more
Like,
explosive.
and like he's like, oh, all these like big name signings make me want to come back. They don't want to come play with you.
Yeah,
They wouldn't have like
that's facts.
I guarantee you that who is it that just signed with the Saints, the wide receiver?
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry just
Guarantee you
signed.
he doesn't go back home, Saints whatnot if Drew Brees is there.
Right.
Because he knows he's not going to get the ball.
Agreed. So. But that speaking of that, Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas, and I think they just got that rookie.
Olave. Chris
Oh,
Olave.
I mean, this is something to be of note because they weren't
it's a stacked
bad.
receiving core. No.
So Jameis Winston goes down. He was kind of in the MVP conversation. I feel like that's weird to say after the first 6 weeks, but he blew up the first 6 weeks. We have to admit that.
Don't say his name in the MVP. Just don't do that.
I wasn't saying I was saying it. I'm just saying people were having him in that conversation.
Goodness.
Especially those on ESPN, Fox Sports, like they were all saying
you
want
blood today.
Oh, I'm not gonna say what I want to say because it's
let's get to it.
Airways. Jair Alexander signed a 4-year, $84 million extension.
Man got paid.
I think that's huge, but it's not gonna make a dang difference because
it just made the market for next year's even more expensive for everyone. That's all
ridiculous.
But
and then this one,
to him.
when you looked at it, you were like, When did that happen?
I didn't know this happened.
Yeah, the Dolphins signed Melvin Ingram for 1 year, 5 million. Is that like a minimum? Is
I
that
think
like
I'm pretty sure that's more than the minimum, honestly. But I mean, the man has track record, so we'll see what that
hopefully
can do.
they're trying this Dolphins team. They're making moves, but
Yeah, that one
who are
just
throwing
shocked
that
me a bit.
ball? It's not going to be
You
pretty.
know, but hey, you know who's making moves in a different sport altogether? That's a big move.
Who?
Real Madrid is apparently getting to sign Mbappe after the season ends, just because they totally need any more firepower right now.
Firepower.
Like, oh my god. He's going. So yeah, if he goes to Madrid, that's huge. And then who did Man City just sign? We talked about this earlier. I forgot.
Oh,
I can't think of his name. How
the
are
guy
both
from
blanking?
Dortmund. The guy from Dortmund.
Yeah,
Holland.
Holland. Yeah, that's God. Yeah, so that's also huge. So really, both of them are just kind of bolstering their attack. But I'm
Is it
excited
going
to
to
see
make
what.
actually? Except for Madrid's case, is it actually going to result in some Champions League action for Man City?
It
Probably
doesn't
not.
matter. Man City lost against Liverpool in the FA Cup final also this past weekend. So
It was,
it's
yeah.
at least LeBron wins a championship from owning part of Liverpool because he's not going to win another NBA one ever. Well then.
So on that note, let's change it because that kind of hurt me inside.
Good.
NHL, I feel like this one we could both agree on, shockingly. What
I
a
love
what a
it.
playoffs.
I love hockey playoffs, man.
Holy crap. Like, especially in this was the battle of game 7s, in my opinion, of the Bucks. And we'll get into all of that.
Yeah.
We'll give the full breakdown. But I think the thing that got like hidden was the game last night.
Yeah.
I go on ESPN and I just see extra time in the game 7, and I was like, of course I'm gonna watch it. And I forget who was playing exactly.
Oh, I can't remember. There's 2 extra time game 7s. I just can't remember which one was last night. But I mean, there's something about playoff hockey in general that's just great. But I mean, all of these games, like, yes, some of these games have been blowouts in the hockey series. But like the first game of a couple series, like we're going to triple overtime and stuff. And it's just like if you're at that game, you got an extra hour of hockey, like for free
Right.
in person, which is huge. So I mean, I'm pumped, honestly. I think maybe not this round. Once it gets to the final 4 in hockey, I think maybe at that point we've been able to watch enough to maybe throw who we think is going to win it. We'll see a little spice picks.
I'm down to make some $10. I will never deny this opportunity to take your money.
It's good. That's good because some of our other bets are no longer viable. So,
well, my side of that argument is great. So we'll get into that. Don't worry, I got something for you.
You know. So what?
But
who all
looking
made
at
it,
the
though? 'Cause I
second
know-
round, yeah.
Yeah. Tell
I
me who
think
all
this
made because I know
is-
you pay attention more.
Tampa Bay versus Florida Panthers. This is going to be the Battle of Florida. I still think it's funny how they have teams, but they're playing. I think second round starts tomorrow, Tuesday.
Yeah.
You have them on the East and the New York Rangers against the Carolina Hurricanes.
You know what hurts me more right now? The fact that one, not only do I have a Thrashers flag, but the fact that you just listed 3 playoff teams that surround my state, and yet we
Yes.
can't have a hockey team.
Yes, and like the New York Rangers is like the only one that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I watched the Rangers game. Yes, I think they played yesterday. It was solid.
You gonna hop on that bandwagon?
I'm not gonna hop on the bandwagon yet because I want to take your money. So you can have them, and then I'll just pick the opposite team because that's what happens when you pick the Bucks. And then on the West, we have St. Louis Blues against Colorado Avalanche. I think we just need to skip all of this, but we have to go through this.
No.
Edmonton Oilers versus Calgary. It's like a lot of battles, like battles of Canada. Then like St. Louis to Colorado, like the middle of nowhere, and then Florida. Now the East Coast. So it's gonna be interesting.
Battle of East Coast. Yeah, no, I'm excited for them though.
No Kings in here. That's of note. The
no
Los
Penguins.
Angeles, Penguins,
No,
Nationals, we lost.
no,
So
Boston's out too. The Predators, Nashville lost, but so that's second round, and then of course, in basketball, down at the conference finals, we got. This hurts me to speak of.
say
God,
it,
I don't
say
want.
it with your freaking chest.
First off, by the way, just so you know, everyone, Wadid failed right here. I want to call him out. He put Mavs versus Suns in the conference finals right here. I just want to put everyone to know that this man didn't even put his own team. Anyhow, so it's Mavs versus Golden State. It's Mavs versus Golden State, not Suns. Clearly the man doesn't even know who's winning. That's
I put it below
him,
it, and I just didn't think. Okay.
Mavs versus Golden State, which that series is gonna be crazy in my opinion, and then Boston versus Miami in the East. Who would have thought? Who would have thought for either of those series?
I think that's a perfect way.
Yeah.
To kind of just get into the elephant in the room. Right.
Yeah, let's do it. And I'm gonna start off with before we go into what you think of the teams that are still in it. Who are you more disappointed in? The Bucks or the Suns? Now, don't just go off of Game 7, because let's just be real. If you're going based off purely Game 7, it's the Suns because they didn't even play. I'm saying as a whole, though, who are you more disappointed in?
Honestly, I feel like the Bucks. I'm probably the most disappointed in. Now I get it. Like Boston comes in, they're young. They have young talent, and they have a new coach though. Udoka, which we have to talk about how this guy's been coaching because it's remarkable. The turn that they made, I think it was after January, and then February they had a hot February,
like
March.
All-Star break time and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. But when you have Giannis on your team, you should win. You have the best player on the floor, and his team was good enough to beat.
You can't blame Giannis for the loss, though. I mean, Giannis did everything in his power to carry that team.
But which, like, for the loss of the whole series?
He's the first player in NBA history.
Because I'll blame him for the Game 7 loss.
Did you not see his stat line in Game 7?
He could have the stat line, but did you see how many open layups he missed?
Oh, I mean, yes.
When the game was within reach, too.
Yeah,
like, it was a 14-point game, and he wasn't that guy.
That's true.
That is why I'm more disappointed, because, like you said, if we look at the Suns, 100% disappointed. Because, like me and you could have played better than they did, right? Me and you could have had more combined shots made than Devin Booker and Chris Paul.
I didn't realize that James Harden was on the Suns after the 76ers went out. I didn't realize they traded him over to the Suns. Like
I never got that ESPN notification. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, no.
1, 2, 3 Cancun. I mean, it was.
I completely agree. Like, I don't agree actually. I get why you're saying the Bucks, but due to like this how the season was, and the teams that were in the Western, like the playoffs and the East playoffs, in my opinion, the East playoffs are much more tough once it got to the second round.
Right.
And if Chris Middleton was healthy, I think the series is very different. I think at that point, the Bucks probably clinch earlier because Middleton's huge. Let's just be real. He's huge for the Bucks because he gives Giannis doesn't have to put up 50 points with Middleton. He only Middleton will help him. But once Middleton got hurt, and they didn't have him all series, and they still took it to get 7 games. Like, I think the Suns are more disappointing for me, at least, because of how they were all season long. Like, you're the top team all year. You're trying to avenge losing in the playoffs or losing the finals to Giannis last year. And then it's not just like they got blown out in Game 7 alone. There was multiple games where Chris Paul shot like complete crap. Yeah. Like Chris Paul, this point god or whatnot, he's the first player to lose 5 series after leading 2-0. And I get he's saying he's going to come back and he's not retiring. If you're young players on the Suns, do you want him to come back? Like, I get like he's a Hall of Famer and stuff, and there's some people saying he deserves a ring. Other people are like, why does he deserve one more than us? He's had his chances at this point. When are we going to stop saying Chris Paul deserves a ring and that he just can't finish his job?
That's completely fair. That's completely fair. And I feel like that's a separate conversation.
Oh, I mean, yes, but that's why
100%.
I'm more disappointed in the Suns than the Bucks, because the Bucks are still in their prime. They're going to be back. They just won last year. If they hadn't won last year, I'd be more disappointed in them. But because Phoenix was basically the overall 1 seed all year long, and then to go out the way they did, not just in Game 7, but the series itself, like there was just some like part of the games you're just like you had to close out. You were up 2-0 and you couldn't close it out.
So I guess I think because I feel like you can't have a wrong answer.
That's
with
true.
This. But I do want to say, who was the best player in the world before Game 7 yesterday?
Giannis.
And how I get it. He has the points. And I feel like this is the bigger discussion of the season. You can have the numbers, but what are you doing when it counts? Right?
Yeah.
I think after the game yesterday, or we talked in between one of these games, maybe when they got pushed to Game 7, but we were talking between Luka and Trey. You look at those guys, they're going to get you more than 8 games. They will find a way to get at least 2, if not 3, and push it to a 7-game series. Like, that's just how these guys are wired, right?
Yeah.
But when I look at Giannis, like, you can't go into this Game 7 in the fourth quarter down 14 and you miss a layup. And it wasn't
100%.
So, like, and that was when the lights were shine brightest. Like, Chris Paul and Devin Booker in the beginning, in the first half, those lights were bright, but it was never a close game. So, like, I just call it a default. But that game was pretty close. And the fact that I feel like it tells more about the character of the team than the Suns did. Because the Suns, it opens this discussion, was the West that weak and they just were, like, that much better? Or are they a regular season team and not a playoff team?
Which I've said for a long time.
Right.
I have said that I have been saying that since last year. That's like I love Devin Booker and he's going to be great for years. But like at this point, it's multiple games in the playoffs. He's not shown up in my opinion. But no, so I do agree with your state of the fact that as Giannis being the best player in the world, he didn't show up. And like when it counts. But this like and then kind of the problem is if you say this, you then have to go back to the debate like when KD was considered the best player, when LeBron was the best. Like you have to continue like they were all games where they eventually lost because they don't, the only person ever to lose in the finals is Jordan. Everyone else has lost in the finals, so it's like it happens. It's seeing how Giannis comes back next season. What's going to be big?
But there's a difference between saying the best player now and then the best player in the league. I don't think Giannis is the best player in the league. I still think that's LeBron, and you could argue KD. But for the best player in the world now, being this young, it says something about him. And I don't think he needs to have this closing instinct. But like I get that's why Chris Middleton was hurt, and that's why it was so it affected the team that much. Because Drew Holiday might show up, but like their guys showed up, and they just need Giannis needs to be that guy. And when you're that size, really, Brandon, how do we that a guy that size miss a layup? Just imagine the hoop at 6 feet and me and you running up. Like that's what it is. But he wasn't missing them by a little. He missed them by reflecting.
And that was the first time in the series that he really missed them though. That's what also it was like he wasn't missing those shots until that game.
Right. So and I think that hurts his chances right now of being considered the best because that's when you get your money right there and you missed it.
Yeah.
I get a Game 7 last year, but and again maybe it goes into the Suns this year. Were the Suns really that good? What I mean?
No, I do, and that's I think the part of the debate though goes back to just how tough the teams that still are in the playoffs and that were in it last round are in the East compared to how tough they are in the West. Because let's be real, you got in the East, you have the Milwaukee Bucks who have the best player in the world right now, and when they have Middleton and their full team, their full roster, It's a very good team. When you talk about the Boston Celtics, you have defensive player of the year. You got other players that could be in that conversation. You have two studs on the like scoring. You got Philly. You have 76ers Embiid MVP conversation. Harden, who's supposed to be great, who's not. Like you
Yeah.
have, and then Miami, who their team is stacked also right now. And then the East or the West, you have the Suns, who had the same concept when it comes to offense defense as the Celtics, but they didn't show up. The Mavericks, who have their one guy, and then they just happen to have other people go off last game. You have Golden State, who's stacked. That's the thing. Is Golden State's the most stacked team in my opinion in the West. And then you had Memphis, who has a young superstar up and coming. He just needs one more person around him, and then he gets hurt. So I think that's why the East is so much more stacked, which is why it's more disappointing that the Suns fell out to who they did. If they had lost in Golden State, not so much. But because the East is so stacked, the Bucks losing to Boston, it's less disappointing. Like that series was back and forth. It was never like 3-1, 2-0. It was 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3 like 3. It was back and forth every game.
Except for and then when you look at the Suns, it was they're up 2-0, they tied 2-2, then they went up 3-2, and they couldn't close.
Yeah.
They couldn't close. They couldn't close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. And again, there's no wrong answer, but
there's no wrong
there's
answer.
A lot of like slight seeds for a future debate. Best player in the world. What do they do with Chris Paul? It's a lot of
the offseason debates we're gonna have is gonna be real interesting, I feel like. Because I mean, let's be real, we didn't even mention DeAndre Ayton, who barely played in game 7. Hello. Please come to the
Don't
Hawks.
get me started.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hawks?
Buddy, we'll continue that another time because right now let's talk about the teams that are still in it. Let's discuss Mavs, Warriors, Heat, Celtics. Let's start in the East.
Okay.
I don't want either team to win. I would like a tie somehow. I would like them. I would like them somehow not to win. I don't want Boston to win. I don't want the Heat to win. Whoever wins the series, congrats. I hope you lose in the finals. Like
you can't
all how
do
it is.
this. You have to make a decision.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna give you my take. I'm gonna give you my take on this.
Okay.
I'm looking at a Miami team. I'm looking at this a Boston team. Best player in Boston, Jason Tatum. This might be a debate, depending on how you want to look at it. Best player on the Heat is Jimmy Butler.
It is.
My opinion. Okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. Especially in the playoffs.
Especially in the
Butler's
playoffs. That's the
thing.
two guys. You have the third best player would be Jaylen Brown. I would say the fourth best would probably be like Kyle Lowry if he's playing.
He's not playing game 1. That was confirmed, by the way. So he's out for game 1.
But he will probably be back at some point in the series.
Yes.
And then Bam at 5. So I would say Miami has more heat or more depth when it comes to talent. But when you have two, and I think this goes back to the Bucks game, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they're here. They're ready.
They are.
And their team, they don't play very deep, I've noticed.
They don't.
I think they go 6 or 7.
I think that's going to hurt them in this series, though.
Okay.
But I'll let you finish your take, and then I'll say my.
I think it helps them. I think it helps them. Honestly, there's no debate of what this team is going to do. They're going to throw out like they have these guys that can play. They go 6. I think it actually is 7. Like they go 7 deep. My issue is Miami. Where's Duncan Robinson this whole time? What's going on with that?
They're trying to.
Kyle Lowry's been out, but like he's getting paid $90 million just to sit on the bench.
Must be nice.
They just gave him that money. And they could the reason why they weren't playing him was because the closeout, him being a spot up shooter or just a shooter in general, the closeout from Philly was too much for him. Boston, you're going against. So he's not going to get minutes. Kyle Lowry coming back off of injury. We don't know what that's necessarily going to bring. I see this being Celtics in 5.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I respect that choice. I did not see that coming in 5 at least. I felt you were going to pick Boston, but so even though I don't want either team to win, I know I have to pick one. So my thing is this. I've I've watched the Heat a lot in the playoffs because one, I watched them destroy my Hawks. Let's just say what it is. They destroyed us. Um, and then I watched what they did to Philadelphia with possibly like the MVP of the league in some people's eyes.
Yeah,
And Jimmy Butler loves Embiid, and that could be a debate in the offseason of will they somehow team back up because they both wish they were still teammates.
that's very
But
true.
my thing is this: defensively, Boston has better individual defensive players, but the Heat, the way they defend as a team, I don't know how they are so good at it, but they all five are in unison, and it's so difficult to get a clean shot off. I think what's going to be big in this series is how much who came from the Bucks? I can't think of his name right now. Drawing a blank.
From the Bucks,
He went from the Bucks. He signed with the Heat this
PJ
past
Tucker.
offseason. Yes, PJ Tucker defensively is going to be big. If he gets in foul trouble, the Heat are going to eat up the inside of. But if he can stay on the court, that's going to be huge in my opinion. I also think what Victor Oladipo can do in his limited minutes is also going to be huge. Because if he does what he did against the Hawks in Game 6, it's just over. Like, I'm sorry, if he's scoring the way he did, it's just done. I think it's going to go 7 games, but I think the Heat are going to come off with the dub because of home court advantage. I think if the Heat can win, if the Heat can survive Kyle Lowry not playing and be tied or ahead in the series, they're clinching it.
I did not see you going that way, especially after they beat your Hawks. You're picking them to make it to the finals.
Part of me is because how much I dislike Boston. I won't lie. It's like I can't root for Boston. I just can't. There's part of my blood just does not let me, and the other part's like if you do, I will kill you. Like my own blood is like my own body's like
it's,
I will
it's
murder
saving
you.
that 20%. Just like you will not make it.
But also just from watching the Heat play in the playoffs, their home court's scary right now. And that's going to be, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. They can win on the road and they can keep their home court as their home court.
But there's always drama. See, and that's the thing. There's been drama with this team, especially going into the playoffs when Udonis has them. And I get it. Like you could even make the debate that Boston has the 2 best players in this series.
I think it's fair to say Tatum and Butler are 1 and 2. I think that's a fair statement there.
Like Butler sometimes doesn't show up, or it's very true that any of them can't show up. But like Butler specifically with the drama and everything, like
if Butler doesn't show up, the series is done. Butler has to show up, otherwise, it's like if Butler's not Butler, then the series is gonna be roll off.
But and Kyle Lowry, I think not making it like for game 1, I think it's huge.
If he misses, just one game, if he misses one game, I don't think it's that big. If he misses like 2 or 3 though, that's going to cause a real debate. Because also, if he misses like a couple games and the Celtics get who's the guy who was hurt
Robin.
And then
Robert Williams.
if they get Williams back and Lowry's still out, that's going to become a whole nother thing.
And that's the thing. The way that Bam plays is this 0.5, right? They have length. Boston has length. They could throw either of the Williams at him, right? They could play that. Jason Tatum is tall enough to guard it. Jaylen Brown, they're tall. Did you see the job Marcus Smart did on Giannis, who is the most dominant big in the league for sure?
Oh,
I think we both will agree. And he was strapping him up sometimes. So Bam is going to be limited. Jimmy Butler is not going up against a James Harden. He's going to be going up against a Brown, a Marcus Smart, a Tatum.
The only thing that plays in Miami's favor though is they play, in my opinion, the most physical ball out of any team. Like they will bully ball you, and they like. So like if Boston can't keep up with how physical it is, which is going to be tough because Boston's a very physical team, but I still think Miami's more physical than them. That's what's going to come down to, because if Miami can play bully ball on them, they're just going to get whatever they want in the paint, and that's the scary part. If Miami gets what they want in the paint, like you're going to have to hope that Brown and Tatum hit threes left and right to stay in the game.
But
Because
now they don't
Miami,
have to. Grant Williams could drop
what
seven.
I'm still saying, like the perimeter shots are what's going to have to hit because Miami's defense isn't going to let you get in the paint the way they defend as five. And
And I
I think Tatum's going to have a bit of a problem when same not to the extent Trae Young did, but the same concept of having four different people defend you in like a 3-minute interval. Like you aren't going to be able to, okay, this guy's defending me. I know what he does because you're going to have Jimmy Butler say if he's high court press, and then once you pass like right mid court, you're going to next thing have PJ Tucker, and then you're going for a layup and you're having someone else defend you. Like it's so hard to play properly when you're having that many people defend you because you have to play against all different styles. I think that's going to be the other thing. That's what screwed up Trae Young so much, and that's to an extent Philadelphia as well, not as much because Embiid's bigger and he's more in the paint, but still, I mean, they're tough.
And I think the other storyline to this is going to be Udoka against, I don't know how to say his name. I got to figure out how to say his name. Udoku, whatever it is, versus Spo. Because I know we're going to talk about this, but man, can he get those guys ready. And
it's going to be real interesting because both of them are really good coaches.
So looking at the West, you said that you think this is going to be closer.
Honestly, I don't think I want it to be closer just because of the teams that are in it. But I'm joining your side at this point. There's no other way I get around it. I have to join the Golden State side at this point because I don't want anyone else to win it.
Wait, because that means you're conceding to this jersey.
No.
Yeah, you had the Bucks.
The Bucks,
and they're not in it. And now you're joining my team, so that means you don't want Boston that bad to win
it. That's how much I hate both teams in the East.
So you're not but okay. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Okay.
To not concede this, you have to pick a team from the East then. To defend your bet. Huh?
I have some time to decide who I want from the East then.
Okay, I'm going to give you till next week. Deadline.
Okay.
Podcast on the record. We're going to have a response from Brandon. Woo! Because I want that stuffed jersey, baby.
There's a high chance Brandon doesn't show up to the pod next week. Yeah. No, Luka's a great storyline, first Western Conference Finals for him and for Dallas since they won it all pretty much. Golden State has too many shooters. They aren't gonna be able to do what they did to Phoenix. Like they're just not going to. Like if you cool off one person, you have four others to worry about. The difference in Phoenix was you could cool off two and be done. You also can get on Chris Paul's skin super easy. You get under Steph's skin, he's going to start shooting logo threes and be like, suck it.
The ultimate shut up.
There's a difference. Shut up. And Luka's going to look at him and be like, I forgot, you're not Booker. You can actually back your shot up right now because Booker couldn't. I love Booker, but he couldn't back his shot up at all.
After game 3, that video, that was hilarious. So how many games?
I think Golden State in 6.
Okay. I see Golden State in 6 too.
I think Dallas wins one of their home ones, and they don't win an away one in the first 2 games away, but the next set of away games or game 5 away, they might get it lucky.
I see that.
I think they win. Honestly, I think they win game 3 and 5.
Yeah. I see it very similar, but I think that's just my gut. Would I be very surprised if this goes 7 games? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Because at this point, anything could happen in the league. First of all, but this is we're going to talk about Udoka versus Kidd. There's something about what Jason Kidd did to those Suns where it's as much as Luka is great, there's something. I have Golden State in 6, but we have to talk about how Memphis actually blew them out without Ja. So to say automatically that,
but also Memphis is very good without Ja. That was established. Memphis without Ja, they're 21-6. You're not supposed to be that good without your superstar.
Right.
What is Golden State without when Steph was out? What are the Lakers when LeBron's out? What's the Hawks when Trey's out? What's Dallas when Luka's out? What's the Nets when KD's out. Like none of those teams have a great record besides Memphis.
But you're proving my point. Why,
No, I know.
why can't Mavs take them 7 games and possibly even win it? Because and Draymond's going to be under his skin, and I can't wait to see how this game unfolds. I think it's Wednesday, so there will definitely be a lot of conversation, reactions even. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Luka could kind of pull off again. So I don't know.
That's fair. I'll have a week to figure out who I want to sack. Just be clear, if my team wins, I don't want a jersey from Miami or Boston. I don't want a jersey at all.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Are you
I will.
sure?
I will beg for an NHL jersey. I will pick a team from the NHL and I ask for that jersey before I get one of those 2 jerseys.
That's fair.
I would never wear it. I honestly, I wouldn't even like. I see the package like, oh, it's from Wadid, trash. And I know what it is. I wouldn't even open it. I don't want the
It'll
jersey.
be a Trae Young jersey and you threw it away.
Okay, I might take a peek just in case now. Just in case. The only Heat jersey I would want is if you buy me a Wade jersey. If you throw back the Wayne Wade jersey, I take that. That's about it.
That would be fair. You know what? If you say the Heat, I'll get you that. That would be the jersey I get you.
Okay. I might, screw it. Let's not wait a week. I'll pick the Heat.
The Heat to beat Boston and beat the Warriors.
Heat win the championship. Sure. Let's do it.
You couldn't say that less convincingly at all. Because honestly, the only way I see the Warriors even possibly losing is if they face Boston. I am not worried about this Miami Heat team. So I'll take you up on that.
That's fine. You just want a jersey, but it's the only way I get a jersey. It's the only way I get a jersey.
Oh, I can't wait. But,
all right, but let's end this on a sports note, Game 7 note, but not just basketball. With how current Game 7s have happened, and I know we haven't the past few recent years, we haven't really watched hockey too much. But as a whole, do you think what type of Game 7 is bigger, hockey or basketball? Not just yesterday, not just this past weekend, but as a kind of because we both watched sports long enough that even if we don't watch the game, we hear about it holy crap, that's a big Game 7 if we missed it. So which one do you think in the past, say, 10 to 15 years has been bigger Game 7s, basketball or hockey?
Okay, so
or even if you want to get spicy, Game 7 World Series, even if you wanted to, you could go because baseball technically has Game 7s too.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that. After my experience at the baseball game that I haven't been to in forever, I wouldn't count. I wouldn't even put them on the list, man. I would put them on maybe second leg Champions League or something. But so I just want to clarify, bigger as in which one has the more spotlight on it, or better?
Well, spotlight's gonna be basketball, unfortunately, if you go spotlight. But better play, better what's I'll just kind of go with my answer, I guess, to make it easier. I love Game 7s in basketball, but there's something about Game 7 in the NHL, especially if it's the Stanley Cup Finals, that just the atmosphere I feel is even better than basketball atmosphere. The hype isn't the same around outside the sport because more people watch the basketball. The South doesn't watch hockey as much. They're gonna watch basketball more just because. But there's something about hockey Game 7s, knowing that basically football-sized players without pads running on ice are going to just truck you into a wall. And I love overtime in basketball, but extra time in hockey, and if it goes to PKs or shootout, sorry, not soccer, a shootout, there's just something about it. Give me a shootout in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals every year, and I would honestly become the biggest hockey fan ever. It's just next level. Because I feel it's much harder to also get blown out in hockey than it is basketball.
That is true.
And that's part of it is watching from this past weekend how we had 2 go to extra time and then both Game 7s of basketball blowouts. It's just this, so that sways me a little bit, but I still think hockey is. I love them both, but I think hockey Game 7 is better.
And you bring up a lot of good points. I will say, I think the thing with Game 7s is because every round in the playoffs is a 7. In basketball, there's such a huge discrepancy between number 1 and number 8. So like
Yeah.
even if that team goes 7 games, like they're burnt out. So like it's more prone to blowout
That's fair.
games. Now, if we're gonna look at second round on, and just
Yeah, we'll say second round on
recent,
because
I will say there I don't think it's comparable hockey to basketball in terms of hype. And I think that has to be taken into consideration. The media hype around the game 7 is going to be huge in basketball versus hockey. But I feel like it's for a reason. You have probably the biggest stars, right? Like you said, hockey's more physical, but I think technically speaking, that basketball players, you need to be more technical, right? Like you need to be more strategic than like.
Yes, but no,
Look at
because like
Udoka and
no,
Kid.
I'm saying
Kid did not deserve to win that. Like the Mavs alone off of roster did not look like they
you
were
are
going
right.
to beat.
But to be more technical, it's hard to say because you're a 280-pound man on ice skates. Like I feel like you have to be more technical to be like
I'm using the wrong
to higher
tactical.
level.
Tactical.
Okay, tactical. I was like tactical. I feel like
because I'm
okay,
like I said technically, and then I was just like, okay. Tactically, because coaching plays a bigger part.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking probably from this place of ignorance. So tell me wrong, fans out there of hockey, what's going on? But there's something about how like Kid specifically did not have a team that could beat the Suns, but could beat the Suns. And his game plan for game 7 was immaculate. That game wasn't a blowout. I think it was like the greatest display of coaching you could ever see. Like when I look at that game, I'm going to look at Kid's brilliance more than the lack of Booker and Chris Paul. Because I think the way he blitzed Chris Paul and Devin Booker, blitzed Devin Booker, switched everything on Chris Paul. I mean, you take your chances. And I can't wait for him to go against the Warriors. But when I look at hockey, the games are going to be closer, but we like as a fan, we like scoring. So having a game go 100 points, 200, like 150 sometimes, like the Grizzlies did that to the Warriors. We love to see it. And I think game 6 and game 7, it has that same elimination environment. And if a game goes game 7, then like it's just you're gonna put your eyes on it. You know, like even yesterday, I had the game 7's on, and then I found out about the game 7 in hockey, and that's just because like people want to see what the stars do.
But if you knew more about hockey, you would have hockey on basketball. So it also depends on what sports you like.
It is, like but more. I think it's even then like if you like hockey more, I want to like I'm a soccer fan. I'll watch any soccer game ever. And soccer is one of those tactical sports, right? So like I like to see more than just football players hitting each other against the wall.
Do you think
and it
part of
like
it though,
to me.
Like part of it for when the like comparison of hockey versus basketball is the fact that basketball players are more either American or European, while hockey could be European or like Russian people. That it's less known people because you don't necessarily know who they are. Like could that be part? Like if you're in Canada, you're definitely probably watching hockey more because you have more like if if the biggest name players were all like given the MVP's been from the the MVP Giannis, Luka, they're all from like not America, which is I love. But like if all these people are from like some like Russia and stuff, and we didn't know who they were at all, it'd be much harder to be fan base for them. Like the big name hockey players, but then you don't know. Like you take away Ovechkin, you're like, who's the rest on the Caps? Like who's the rest of that team? Like unless you watch them, so like the big name players, the ones who are going to go down the history book. But after that, if you don't know the sport, you have no clue who these players are for the most part.
And that's 100%. And I think you're right. I guess when I'm watching a sport, which is why I love football so much, because every game feels like a game 7 of anything, because it's just like any given week, something can happen. But tactics of the coaching and the mindset of it, that is what excites me, because to me, what hockey feels like is just like a bunch of guys I know there is tactics in it, but like I don't see it. Maybe I don't understand it, and I need to study it, and I
Yeah.
will be now that it's just the conference playoffs because there's more time, so I can definitely gonna try and study up on it, and maybe I'll find a new appreciation by next week. But that's why like baseball I can't get into. Like as
We're
much as
gonna
I
work on
try,
that. We're gonna
gonna
work on
know.
that. Don't you worry. We're gonna
Like
make it
going
happen.
to the game and watching, like I'll follow it, but like there's no need for me to watch 5 hours because
We're gonna work on it. Don't you worry.
well,
We're gonna.
you brought up a few good points when I went to the game yesterday. I will you nutty.
We're gonna work on some stuff. We're gonna work on some stuff.
But
We're
I
gonna work
think
on some
like
stuff for you.
basketball's tactics, football is tactics, soccer is tactics. That's what speaks to me. But hockey is definitely above baseball. I would say hockey's like even above, some of these other team sports. But I like hockey. I think it's great, but there's nothing like a game 7 of basketball. I don't ever.
Fair enough.
But I'm surprised you said hockey. I won't lie.
Listen, I miss it, man. I miss it in the South. It's just something about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What I feel.
A game 7 in general, despite the
Game
sport.
7, yeah. As
Even
long as
World
it's not a
Series
blowout,
and
if it's not a
baseball, I'll
blowout,
watch it.
game 7s are amazing. When it's a blowout, it's just like, well, this is disappointing. Like the hype just kills when it's not close in every sport.
Can we talk about how Boban got mad yesterday? Can we talk about that?
Buddy.
His face. I
would
shit
you be?
myself. I know I cursed, but I pooped myself. This guy looked like he was gonna kill me. Oh my god! I was like, holy crap!
Oh, well, on that note, everyone, Wadid is still scared from yesterday, so he is currently going to go to therapy on that. But he's going to be fine because we have plenty more podcasts to go about.
Holding Chris Paul's head like he was a baby, and he was that face. Oh, we have to post it. We have to post that face and then my face. Oh my god!
The man's hand is the size of my flag, so.
And he's such a nice guy, but I feel like
he is
one of these types of guys is going to be like, if you get him to snap, he will do things to you.
The problem is if he snaps on Draymond in the next series, Draymond's going to come at him with his gray beard.
Oh, we should put money on that because I feel like that would be the most. I would love to see that because Draymond will never quit, but Boban will kill him. Like Boban will kill him. Holy crap!
Oh, dang.
That was a good pod.
That just means I was gonna say that just means we have so much to talk about next week. Yeah, I know. You came with some heat, but had to back it up. I'm excited to see what happens over the next week with the upcoming games. Because we would have watched much more sports because there's not gonna be 4 games a night now.
Yeah.
So we'll update y'all. When is Champs Finals? Is it? It's not for another couple weeks, I don't think, right?
I think it's like the last week of May, first week of June, and that.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So
yeah, so we have plenty of time before that to determine who wins some money there.
Well, until next week.
Like, subscribe, hit that follow button.
All the stuff.